Boker Tov. So I'm here at the Tel Hai Youth Hostel overlooking the gorgeous Hula Valley. You can't see because the sun is coming from that direction, it's just rising. And my friend made it last night, and I didn't have, like I said, I didn't have time to properly say goodnight to you guys because we had to make some decisions about today. So we've made some changes to plan. We just had breakfast in the dining hall at the youth hostel. It was amazing, a buffet breakfast, Israeli style, and I think I'm set to go for the next little while. I was starving this morning. I don't think it's hiker hunger yet, but I was pretty hungry. So we've made some decisions. She was supposed to come with me for the next 2 days. I had suggested it when I found out that she was going to be in Israel at the same time that I was, and I figured it would be a nice way to spend some time together, and because I didn't know if we would be able to see each other otherwise, and also I was a little bit scared of the first few days, and I thought it would be nice to have somebody to even though from all my information it was supposed to be kind of the easiest part of the trail, I thought it would be nice to have somebody join me for those first couple days just to get used to it, and also wanted to see her and spend some time with her. And after these first couple of days and coming to find out that this next day's section, which is day 2, is actually in fact one of the more difficult sections of the trail, and it's 21 kilometers. I haven't done any more than 9 kilometers with the pack on myself yet, so I don't even know if I can make it. And with the sun and heat and everything, we've just decided to change plans. We're going to spend the morning together here, and then she might stay here for another night or head back to Haifa, where she's going to fly home from Tel Aviv in a couple days. And I'm going to continue this afternoon once I'll be able to hike in the cooler evening hours, and I'll go as far as I can make it before the sun comes down, and I'll have my first camp out and I'll get to test my tarp. So sometimes you have to be flexible, and I just can't in good conscience take her up the mountain with me with the sun and the heat being the way it is, and not even knowing if I can make it or how far I can make it. So that's what we're going to do today. And the other hiker told me that there's a really lovely place about 7 kilometers in to set up camp and have a lovely view over the valley. So I'm going to see if I can find that spot. I'm not exactly sure what he was talking about, but if I can get that far before the sun sets tonight, that would be a win. It's going to set me back. I'm going to say by the end of tomorrow I'm going to be behind by a day probably, but I'd rather do that and be safe than try to push through and not make it. Hey guys, I'm back. Alright, so here's the deal. I just couldn't in good conscience bring my friend up here because the last couple of days have been so really difficult. It's, you know, I knew it was going to be hard, especially the first couple of days, but it's been hard. And so I just couldn't in good conscience bring her up here, and we spent a really nice sort of morning and afternoon together in Tel Hai, and then I set off to go up the hill once the sun set down. I mean, not set down, but was a little bit lower on the horizon. So now I'm trying to see how far I can get before it gets dark. I really don't want to do any night hiking on my 4th day out here or whatever, but I have to find a good place to set camp. That was the thing, like I'm all prepared and I have my tent and stuff and I can stop anywhere and set up camp, but my friend is not. So we really sat down to, based on my experience over the last 2 days, and I don't think we could make it to the next place for a place to stay. So I think she's gonna have a really lovely Sabbath time in Tel Hai, and then she'll go home tomorrow, spend the last night with her sister before she flies home. And I think it just works out the best this way. And I'm going to keep going and see how far I can get, and try to pitch my tarp for tonight. That down there, folks, is Kiryat Shmona. That's sort of the main city center of the north of Israel. And I wasn't down there today, but I was close to there, just north of there, in a little town, a little village, I guess, called Tel Hai, across from a kibbutz called Kfar Giladi. And the Shvil goes through Kfar Giladi, and I've climbed up from there. I'm just glad I didn't see myself climbing. One step at a time. If you have a hill to climb, don't look up. And makes it a whole lot better. And make sure you have hiking poles. Anyways, gotta keep going. And just across that, from that lookout point, I didn't get very far, there's this memorial of sorts. It's a memorial forest established, I think, in memory of somebody by the name of Betty Feldman. If I can't, it's really hard to read those plaques, but there's all the names of the different presidents are on there of the US and their wives. So there's Lyndon B. Johnson, Dwight Eisenhower, Hubert Humphreys, Eleanor Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Robert F. Kennedy, Harry Truman, and Richard M. Nixon. So I'm not quite sure what the significance of this is, but there's a nice little seat there you can sit and contemplate, and it's just a forest in memory of Betty Friedman, planted by Benjamin Friedman, and the Jewish National Fund. So I don't know what the presidents are doing there, but they have their names on plaques. Hey everyone, okay, I'm back again. I've come a little bit further along, and I just had to give you this fabulous view across the Hula Valley, Kiryat Shmona, over to Mount Hermon over there somewhere. I'll get myself out of the view. There you go. I need to see what I'm showing you here. Okay. So yeah, so that's Mount Hermon over there. So the sun is setting. Just the setting, it's about 10 past 6. So it's exactly as the sun is setting. The view is gorgeous. I'm just in awe. I'm just so grateful for this moment. It's cost me a lot to get up here, just in energy, and I can't believe it, but it's all been worth it. And it's actually quite a bit easier hiking now that it's cooler, and it's a little bit uphill, which is actually, I'm finding, a little bit easier than flat ground, just a tiny bit uphill. Definitely easier than steep uphill. And yeah, so a very low uphill, and the coolness with the sun going down is much better to hike in, and I totally recommend it. I still have 2 or 3 kilometers to go to where I want to set up camp. I don't know if I'm going to make it that far before dark. I really don't want to do night hiking, but I don't know. I'm just going to have to play it by ear, and hopefully I make good decisions. That's becoming the theme, right? Good decisions, not bad decisions. Hey guys, I did finally make it to my destination. I actually managed to hike 7 kilometers today, which is pretty amazing, but I did it a lot of it after dark, so I'm not pleased about that at all. I do not like night hiking, but sometimes it's actually seems to be a good thing, because hiking during the daytime here is brutal. And the only trouble is there's some gorgeous, gorgeous views along the way that I missed because of that. But I just couldn't set out any earlier. And then, yeah, I could have set camp up sooner, and I probably should have, because then I ran into the trouble that I actually passed through a nature reserve or something where you're not supposed to be after dark. And of course they tell you not to hike after dark anyways, but that was a kind of like couldn't help that anymore. But yeah, so I was in the some kind of a nature reserve and shouldn't have been there. And I think I'm out of it now. I just desperately needed to find a place to set up camp by that point, but I wanted to make as much kilometers as I could in the cool of the night. So here I am, about to go to bed, and yeah, this is not for the faint of heart. I can tell you that for sure. Laila Tov.